Just let me know when you want me to speak.
All right, everybody, we're going to get going here. So if you can grab seats, and then we've got people online too. All right, you ready? Hey, everybody. Before I turn this over, remember, you guys got to stand in the box to make sure you're on camera.
We're in the box.
So, Keith Sampson, thanks for joining us back on this road show. Again, if you're joining us at the very beginning of this afternoon, in your control panel, you have a question section. Please put your questions in there. We will get to them. Chris is either over there answering them through typing, or we will read them after the end of each section. We're going to make sure that you're feeling the love, right? So up next, we've got Mynt with kind of a focus on the POS Pros team. So we got Pete here from Mynt. We've got Matt from the POS Pros team. And so Matt's going to say a few words about the recent enhancement to the relationship between NAB, POS Pros, and Mynt. And then Mynt's going to kind of take you through what Mynt does, or Pete's going to take you through what Mynt does. So I'm going to step away.
Thank you, Keith. I'll talk forever. All right. Nate, you hear me okay? Good? All right. So, yes, we're very excited about our new relationship with Mynt. Those of you who have not heard, we did have a partnership. It took a long time in the making that we finalized back in December. We started beta testing some Mynt merchants. As far as the verticals and demographics go after, this is full service restaurant. This is QSR. It's food and beverage based. They do have a small footprint. We can do a little bit of retail, but keep in mind that's more of a combination retail. The Cracker Barrel type, where I've got my restaurant bar, but then I'm selling some knickknacks, whatever. It's not full-blown liquor store. Okay, so we're looking at that vertical of food and beverage. There's some exciting features that we're going to go through with Mynt, but it's been a great partnership so far. So I'm lucky to have Pete.
Been fantastic. We're grateful for you.
We both flew in this morning, so we're here ready to rock and roll.
That's right.
All right. So as we go through this, guys, please save the questions to the end. I'm sure you'll have lots of them. And as we present, I'm going to kind of go through some of the new verticals, some of the enterprising capabilities of this software, the RMS management, obviously the normal stuff, online ordering, QR codes. You'll hear us talk about that a lot. Mynt also is programmed and ready to rock with Edge through EPX. Okay, so we're excited about this partnership. Go ahead, Pete. What do we got?
Mynt. So we'll give you guys a little bit.
It's a solution.
It's a POS solution. So really there's some history on here that's probably not accounted for. So give me a quick opportunity to explain to you guys. So Mynt is owned by a company called Custom America. Custom America is a hardware manufacturer based out of Parma, Italy. In the United States, we have offices in Bellingham, Washington, Boothwyn, Pennsylvania, which is a little south of Philadelphia. And then we have another office that we just opened up in Miami. So traditionally, our business is hardware. We got into the software space a couple years ago. We kind of just wanted to encompass everything that we do because we have solutions that really come up from a warehouse to a cash register. So right now, today, Mynt is US based. Like Matt said, we have the Edge side of it. It's a big focus on hospitality, QSR, fine dining, fast casual, really encompasses every vertical within hospitality. So 2014 was another purchase that Custom America made, which was POSX. So all the hardware that you actually see inside of Mynt is POSX hardware. So the real value add to that is that we have hardware and software that's under one roof. It's not an Epson printer with an APG cash drawer and an ELO touchscreen. The support techs that are there to support the software subsequently are there to support the hardware as well.
And there's a warranty on that hardware.
That's correct. It's a lifetime warranty.
Benefits to the manufacturer.
Benefits to the manufacturer. So there's our offices. Miami is pretty recent. Again, this is a good mix between support staff, sales staff, and then warehousing space that we have in the United States.
Yeah, all the 24/7 support guys is domestic.
That's correct.
24/7.
That's correct. Yeah. If you, go ahead.
Sorry.
Matt, you deal with Mynt a lot more than I do.
I already knew this. But yes, guys, just so you know, everything is domestic. We do send over the menus right away, just like we do with Hot Sauce and Quick and our other systems. And their programming team has been phenomenal. And it's usually a 15-day implementation process from start to finish. Just go, and they're scheduling out with the different owners to get set up.
That's right.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
I honestly forgot that slide was there.
Listen, I forgot the slide that was there. So, I was going to practice a little bit tonight before we got up here. But no, like Matt said, really we turn things around pretty quickly. It is an enterprise solution, for lack of a better term. So if you're thinking of the NCRs, the Alohas of the world, or the Microses of the world, this will stand the test of time against those ironclad systems that are out there. like Matt did mention, we do have a lifetime warranty. Definitely a big value add when we're talking about the 24/7 support, the hardware and the software being under one roof. The reason that we offer this is because we can actually stand behind what we're doing. So what do you guys get with Mynt? Well, just what you'd expect. So you're getting the hardware. Typically, you're getting this terminal here, which is the touchscreen in the printer. That's our TP5. It's a 15-inch screen, the 80mm receipt printer, the software obviously that comes along with it, and then like Matt said, the system configuration, the onboarding, we do all of that remotely. We get a menu review, we schedule an installation, we go through the training, make sure the staff and managers, everybody at the restaurant feels comfortable with implementing the solution.
And for those of you who sold POS with me in the past, think of this as a hybrid solution. It is software based, but they give full access remotely. So you can log in remotely, I can check, I can add a button, I can even do a comp on a table if my manager's not there, because I have full live access to the system.
That's correct. So we have a cheesy little saying down there, big or small, Mynt does it all, right? So really it does, and with that, the system doing it all, we do it all as well on the Mynt side of the business from a corporate standpoint. So just a couple quick looks at the screen. You can kind of take some screenshots here. What I'd suggest is anybody that actually wants to see a working demo, you can come by the booth. We have my colleague that's there this week, Sam, who's very, very great with the system, and she can walk you through everything that you need. Anything that you would expect, again, from those legacy systems that are out there. Unique logins, specific permission levels, all those fun things, Mynt offers it.
And what I like about this screen right here, guys, is that's what I see when I log in to my demo account. That's what the owner's gonna see, where they can go to the back office, they can actually go and put in their login, and it logs into the POS even if they're sitting at home. So it's very simple, easy to use, but that's big to be able to do the remote.
It is. It is. It's definitely a big selling point for us.
Mm-hmm.
So just a couple quick shots of the system itself inside. I mean, pretty much what you'd expect from a legacy point of sale system that's out there today. Pretty straightforward. It's boxy. It's not overly pretty. Doesn't really need to be. That's not what we're doing. Mynt's spent our time on functionality, making a good system that's going to work, that's going to be simple, with a UI that, really, if you have a server that's using NCR Aloha one day, that server could likely just jump right into the Mynt system and start pounding away.
Yeah, and I'm going to point something out on this screen, guys, because we've done a lot of QSR with Mynt. Customer-facing screen, nice 10-inch screen that also can have a little marketing there. And digital menu boards, also something you don't see in a lot of point-of-sale systems. So those, both obviously, a few features. Because you're going to hear, guys, as we're talking today about these different point-of-sale systems, they're all good in their own way. We all know that. I mean, it's just like a car. They're all work in the same functionality. I can drive them. It's just what features do I want? What extra bells and whistles do I want? Okay? And so that's what we're trying to focus on, these little 20, 30-minute breaks, is what does Mynt do that's different than maybe other systems?
Yep. So. Yeah, good points, Matt. So you mentioned the digital menu boards, rear displays for signage. I think one thing that maybe you all aren't taking advantage of enough, or we don't see taking advantage of enough out there in general, is ad-driven signage being used on those boards. Whether it's the business itself that wants to advertise specials that they might have for the upcoming nights, or it's partnered businesses in the area where they're trying to also promote. It's great. It's just another way to start generating a little revenue for them. Reporting. So we've made the reporting side of the business really simple. You get a lot more reporting features with the enterprise system versus the core on Mynt. Matt could probably talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we've got two different softwares with Mynt. And so when you guys reach out to us or we're going through Mynt demos, we actually have two different types of paperwork based on their software. And their core software is very simple. I need 3 stations, kitchen printer, bar printer, and I'm up and going. When we get into more additional features, QR codes, online ordering, RMS software, matrix level inventory, then we step up to the enterprise level. Okay, so then they've got a ton of other features enterprise. So it gives us nice flexibility. If someone doesn't need all that stuff, their core pricing is phenomenal. It's the lowest price monthly SaaS of any POS that I have.
That's right.
Is for the Mynt core. But then they have all these additional features. One thing I really, it was on the screen right before this, there are 2 things that kind of sets Mynt apart from our other systems. Down at the bottom, hostess mode reservations. RMS software is very rare to be in a point of sale system. Okay, just so you guys know. RMS software, reservation management, it's like OpenTable. If you guys haven't used OpenTable before, I'm going online, I'm booking it, but it's separate from my POS. Okay, it always has been. Now OpenTable integrates with like Aloha or Micros for a ton of money. So this has built-in RMS software, so I can actually go to the website and click and book a reservation. It shows up on the POS. I can actually click, not on this screen, on the main screen, hostess mode, and now I got my wait list management. I see who's coming in. I can even text when your table's ready. No more little buzzer. And that's huge. That's just not something that's normal in a POS. So RMS software, and then matrix level inventory. That's also something that's really never been built in a POS. It's an add-on. Years ago when I opened my last restaurant, I had Aloha. It was $2,500 to add on that matrix level inventory. And that's normal with most POSs where you have to use a third party. That's built into Mynt. And what I mean by matrix level is I ring up a burger and it actually deducts 5 ounces of meat, ½ ounce of cheese, boom, 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 down the line. Okay? Every POS has item level inventory. That's normal. I ring in 17 Jack and Cokes. I see I have 17 Jack and Cokes. This could actually deduct 1.25 ounces of Jack Daniels out of my full fluid ounce inventory. Does that make sense? Sorry to go into a little
No,
spiel
please.
about inventory.
Matt,
it's important. It's important that it's built in the system.
Yeah, Matt works with the Mynt system a lot more than I do at this point. We lost our primary Mynt guy.
I did.
You're
my
so
new Mynt guy.
primarily, yeah, it could be. Yeah, I'm really more on the hardware side of the business in the day to day. We could always get into that, but today we're talking about Mynt, right, Matt?
Well, and this is important too because I can't tell you in the POS I worked with that you cannot custom report or custom your reports at all. Most systems don't allow you to do that. So if you know, okay, my old system, I did this, this, and this with my digital dining, and I want it to look that exact same way, we can actually work with that, and Mynt can work on a custom report. And that's kind of unheard of as well in the POS world.
Yep. Franchise ready.
I was gonna say, this is big. I just had a 5-location franchise that we're moving over to Mynt. Being able to access everything from one platform, being able to go and manage inventory for 5 different locations, and the owners having access to all that. So, very good. Mynt was originally, we didn't even mention that. Mynt was originally built for Quiznos.
That's correct.
If you ever had a Quiznos sub, that's what Mynt was built for.
Regretfully.
So it had to be able to do multi-location really well.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, it's multi-location. For that owner that's got the 10 or 15 stores, to be able to consolidate everything, the schedules, promotions, all those things, it can all be set from the back end, and it makes life easy for that owner.
Or they want access to their kids'
Correct.
franchise.
Correct.
So
And they
the
can,
one that I said, yeah, his son opened a hot dog franchise.
Right.
And he's like, I want access to my kids' stuff.
access
Like, sure.
anytime, anywhere. Also, right?
You can,
So
yep.
that's right. Graphics, digital signage. We talked a little bit about it. We're obviously seeing a lot more digital menu boards that are out there now. I also think the cost for digital menu boards are starting to come down just because of technology as well.
Right.
This is something that we do have integrated into Mynt. It's pretty simple. I think the digital signage boards add an extra $15 a month, I believe it is, Matt, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
$15 a month.
This is a great price, just to throw their screens up there. So where we're seeing this now is in the small mom and pop, the taquerias, the quick service, QSR, where they want to compete with Popeyes down the street, okay?
Correct.
Or whatever fast food chain that's already down the street. It's like, hey, that'll look really cool, and then I don't have to keep screwing around with writing on the board or whatever to do. So
Yep.
it's good.
The rear customer display. So there are a couple options for this. Again, what you're seeing here kind of is what we were just talking about, some brand-driven or ad-driven signage next to the checkout area where the patron's going to be able to see their bill, how much they owe, so on and so forth. It's a good little feature. I believe the rear, the customer display adds us $7 a month, Matt? 15.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
But I mean, yeah, still it's not bad because it's a full restaurant system, but this is really QSR. Obviously my bar's not gonna need a customer display. But if I'm sitting there trying to push people through the line, 100%, I want them to see right there. I want them to see my special of the day, come back and see us Friday for
Absolutely.
whatever, beer.
Yep, for
Margarita.
beer. Chocolate milks. Strawberry.
Yep.
The back office tools for success. So obviously there's a lot of back-end items that we have inside of the Mynt system. Really just allow whether it's someone like Matt or it's the owner that's working with someone to be able to manage that business.
Yep.
Everything that you're really looking for locally, remotely, that they're able to get in there. They're able to dig in, whether it's the labor, the menu editing, reports, And if there's something that is needed, that owner might be one of those, I need this. I'm the only taco shop in the entire world that's operating right now.
Right.
There's a good chance that we'll bend, and we make a lot of things happen, even things that just aren't standardly offered within the system. So, especially in the reporting side.
Oh, yeah.
Flexible partnership. Go ahead.
Yeah,
If you want
let's
to talk about that, Matt.
partnership. So this was a big deal getting all this set up. We are a direct reseller now of Mint. What that means is that we get to control the pricing. Okay, so we do have different promotions, as you guys all know, with our various systems. If they're doing edge pricing, same thing applies with Mint. Okay, we're going to be able to help with that upfront hardware cost, or they're just paying those SaaS fees, or a minimal upfront, maybe just for some shipping or whatever it might be. And obviously we want to get you guys more money too. So if we do need to mark something up to get agent commission, we can 100% do that. The monthly though goes directly through Mint, the same way we have set up with Quick and Hot Sauce on our different systems. Okay, so we're not marking up the monthly ever, but we can mess with the actual hardware.
Yeah. And then from the Mint side, we don't target the end user. We don't target the merchants. That's not what we do. We rely solely on our channel. We rely solely on our partners to bring that business in. We also don't collect any residuals. We're just concerned about making sure our hardware is getting sold, it's getting deployed on time, and that merchant's paying their monthly software license fee to us every month. So 3 action items that'll help you sell more Mint. So just really the biggest one is understanding where Mint's a fit, right? So, and I think it's pretty well stated, right? You have a lot of different solutions that you're obviously showing here today.
Yeah, about Keith's action items on every.
Yeah, right.
All right. So,
Go ahead, Matt.
So yeah, as far as verticals, full service restaurants, bars, pizza, because they do have delivery. I can track my drivers. That's actually been a pretty good vertical. We have had a couple hybrids where they need retail and restaurants, where it's really worked out well because they can do the barcode scanning, and that inventory management does really help with retail. Even though that's not their go-to, is retail, but I can do purchase orders through the back end. I can do my vendor invoicing through my vendors through the back end. There's a lot of extra features. Obviously, we're not going through today. And I just realized yes, you can go to the booth and they'll show you a demo. I also can show you a demo on my computer. So if you guys want to learn more about Mint, I'd be happy to show you as well.
We definitely encourage that.
Hands-on, sell one.
Q&A.
You'll learn it.
Hands-on, yeah,
That's
we'll go
the
back.
key, guys. You sell one, you're going to learn a whole
That's
bunch
it.
more about it, and then you're comfortable and ready to rock. Question time.
So when you run the Edge program on there, and they have the customer-facing screen, can it show both prices at checkout?
Yes. Yeah.
Question again?
Oh, sorry. Question was, if they have edge pricing and they have customer-facing display, can it show both amounts on there? And the answer is yes. So,
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you're saying, like if that person, if they're selling mixed drink, that it will literally,
deduct from their inventory?
yeah, as far as how much Jack you use, how much sour mix you put in there.
Yep. So the question was, if they sell a mixed drink, can it deduct the actual fluid ounces? And yes. So if I sell Long Island iced tea that has 3/4 triple, 3/4 vodka, 3/4 rum, then boom, 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 boom. Now setting it up is trickier. You got to obviously put recipes in that. So the system has to know exactly how many ounces, quarter ounces go into everything. And then once it's set up,
Who's
those people
responsible to set it up?
well, the Mint team will help with the owner, but
Yeah.
they have to be given the recipes. They don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone's Long Island is a little different. So they would need to know, I need a detailed drink list, and then they can just put it in. And they train this too. So like I could go in with you into my demo back office, and we could go through and break down a menu as well.
Can I get another question?
Yeah.
As far as the digital menus, are those feasible for like food trucks and pop-up vendors and stuff as well?
So question is, are the digital menu boards good for a food truck?
Yeah.
Or pop-up?
They could- they could be, yeah.
Because they can buy their own screen, whatever size, if they have room for a 20 or they have room for a 40 inch, they just have to be able to plug it in and get, a good connection to it.
Yeah.
And then it can connect and work directly through
Yeah.
Mint if they need to change.
Yeah, if you have the setup for it, absolutely. Yeah, as long as there's adequate power and, yeah.
Good question, yes.
What exactly will be the deployment time from start to finish?
So the question is total deployment time, start to finish. Well, I know we have a 15-day implementation range. Okay, that's what Mint from start to finish. Now, that being said, that's assuming they can get in touch with the owner. And so that's where my team comes in. We're doing these demos and we're talking about next steps is warning them that, hey, you're going to get a call from Mint. You're going to get a text and call. You need to talk to them to get this scheduled, because if they don't answer the phone or respond for 5 days, you know, it slows it all down.
Yeah.
So we want to go quickly, and we're shipping the hardware right away. So yeah, we're drop shipping and ordering hardware right away, but we still have to get them to do the menu review and get the programming.
Yeah, we put a couple things in place since then. I think you've seen it. We're sending out automated emails that are going out. It's a 4-step process. We're keeping the agent involved so that if the merchant, you know, when you're dealing with restaurant folks,
They're busy.
their
Yeah,
passion's there, their hearts are there, but sometimes they're just, you know, they can be scattered, right? So, and we obviously see a lot of people sign up, and then we can never get a hold of that merchant again, and you know, the agents are going, well, what's going on? So what we're really trying to build is a process to ensure that we can get that merchant in place with the ISO agent involved, and a 4-step process. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Oh, sorry,
Well, I
Matt,
was
if you
gonna
wanted to say
and
something.
the process starts for all of those of you who have sold POS with us, the moment the our welcome email goes out. So the moment our welcome email goes out from Morgan, the manager of our office, then that starts the process. Then right after that is when they're getting Mint. That means the hardware's already ordered everything by the time that welcome email goes out.
Correct.
Jeff?
Good questions. First one, SaaS on core versus enterprise.
I was gonna say, do you want to go through? We can go through pricing a little. Actually, I'll talk to you afterwards, Jeff, about pricing.
Second question, table options.
Good old pay at the table. Okay, so let's clear this up right now. So he asked about, you know, pay at the table options. As of right now, we can run Mint on iPads. So take an order at the table. Okay? Not doing a payment with that iPad, but we can walk around and do it. They've done the integration to A920, but I can't get it to A920s. So there's a huge shortage in the country, and I keep trying to get them for our manufacturer and through their manufacturing, and there's still a shortage, but the A920 has been beta tested and it's working. I'm hoping in the next month or two we get some, but we don't know. So we've actually had some merchants that were like, oh, I got a couple iPads here that I used with whatever, my old system. It's like, great, we'll get you the software for it, use those 2 iPads, walk around and take orders.
Yep.
Yeah.
The software on any additional iPad, being that A920s are scarce right now, is there an associated cost for every application download?
Yes.
Good question.
Yeah, good
So
question.
The question was, if we add on other iPads, is there going to be a SaaS fee? And yes, that is true, just like any system. If I'm ringing up orders and using that to ring up orders, then there is going to be a monthly SaaS fee.
Yeah.
And it's lower, obviously, for Core compared to Enterprise. And Core you can use with iPads, as long as you don't need some of those extra bells and whistles. Yeah.
Any Bluetooth solution with the iPad for the time being?
There is, yes. Question was, is there any Bluetooth solution for the iPad? Yes, there is. We don't promote it because they really don't work that well. But yes, if we had to get D210s and they insisted on Velcro to the back of an iPad, could it possibly work? Yes. I would not recommend it to my
Nor would
office
I.
because they drop connection constantly. The servers lose them. They drop them. It's just
How about manual payment?
You're just taking up all the questions, aren't you, Dave?
Great questions.
So question was, what a manual payment? Which yes,
Yeah,
I believe we could do
absolutely,
a manual payment right there on iPad.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No problems giving you. All right. Yes, online question.
Online question, just wanting to verify that Mint can handle reservations.
Yes.
Yes.
So question was about reservations. That's exactly what we talked about earlier. I like that not only can it be online and on social platforms, but managing it on the POS is really nice. To be able to just go and look and say, I got the Smith Party, Robinson, you know, whoever's coming in, and then be able to go and seat them. And also on that hostess, they can mark if a table needs to be cleaned.
Yeah.
I mean, just things that are natively with OpenTable. With other RMS softwares, I've never seen it in the POS. So it's nice to have that right there.
Yep.
Good question.
Yeah, good questions. One more.
Anything else? Anything else? Yeah, good.
Phone support, is that included in the core price or the enterprise price? Is there an added fee for phone support?
Good question. So the question is there an added fee for phone support, or is it included in core and enterprise? Included in both, 24/7 domestic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's all domestic support, and
Software upgrades are included,
Yep.
warranty on the hardware.
Yep.
Yeah.
we're working on adding more. We have support spread out between the West Coast and the East Coast to account for different times. The Miami office just opening up within the last couple weeks.
Right.
You know, we're
Well, and I want to talk about demos here for a quick second. So as
Please.
of right now, our main demo guy with Mint is phenomenal, but he is West Coast. So our demos really aren't starting until 11 Eastern time. I've been doing some demos on my own. I still have yet to train my whole team to do demos. So we are not demoing them in-house at this time. We are leaning on Mint to be able to do the demos for us. If you did need an early morning demo, 9:30 Eastern, I could do it for you. I'm just not going to sound as smart as the Mint fancy guy.
That's not me. That's not me.
No.
We got a great guy. His name's Josh Steele.
Yeah, he's
so
phenomenal.
he's phenomenal.
So
yeah.
just to let you guys know, it's West Coast. Sometimes some of our companies are West Coast.
So
Yes,
when
sir.
they ship the equipment, the hardware,
Mhm.
it comes with a router and everything programmed already. We don't have to actually go and set up. Remember?
Correct. So question is, when it's everything's shipped, it already has the menu programmed, router, everything there, so you don't have to set up. It's very similar to what we talked about earlier, Quick. They menu reviews all done, it's ready to go, it's plug and play, they schedule out the time. We have a lot of our Mint deals with our agents. The agents are very hands-on, and they're going there and they're doing the setup.
Where they have on-site installations?
No, it's not a Mint person,
Yeah.
but Ruth, you'd be pleasantly surprised. Just how you know other systems so well, you would pick up this system right away too and be able to
So
install.
on the peripherals that they sell, let's say like the digital things, the customer has to have installed already what he wants, and what we do is just connect with the app, I'm assuming, or whatever.
For the menu boards,
Yes.
they would have to already have the screen.
Everything connected. already.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So she asked, the question was, if they do digital menu boards, they would need to already have all that set up, and that is correct. We're not ordering the menu boards from them.
Correct.
We're also not ordering iPads. So whenever we do these demos and we have given them iPads, we let the merchant know the iPads aren't supplied through us, all the other
Correct.
hardware is, and that's normally not a problem. They already have their own iPads, or they can just go to Amazon and get it refurbished.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's only a couple things we don't get through Mint.
Yeah. And only a couple things we don't do, which is running wires and cutting cables, or drilling holes for that matter. So yeah.
So good question, yes.
You guys do, I'm guessing you do offline mode, but do you have a 4 or 5G backup solution? Like I'm in Florida. The
Yeah.
hurricanes,
Florida, never heard of it. Where's that? Is that West Coast?
Swampland.
Nah.
All right, so the question
I'm joking.
yes, there's offline mode, but is there a 4G or 5G backup?
Failover
capability?
system?
Right.
We could do it. I mean, really, it's just a network,
Yeah,
right?
I'll
So,
What do you guys provide typically when you hear that kind of?
do you guys
No,
get
I
into
mean,
that
there's already
much?
a router, but we could always do a rollover router. We do a lot of those, especially if it's, yeah, like a 4G rollover router. They just have to have a data plan through their provider, their
That's
internet
right.
provider.
So it's what SDK is running right here.
Right. So
They have a router with a data card in it, and so they literally if the internet goes down here, service has no idea that it went down. Sorry.
Right.
No.
No.
Yeah,
It just,
correct.
No,
You
it just
repeat that,
switches
it
over.
just
That's
sends it through-
100% right.
Sends it through wireless data as opposed to hardline.
And
Right.
it's seamless. There's no toggle.
No, it switches automatically. So what Keith was just saying for everyone there at home is 4G or 5G rollover routers, we can do it pretty much with any POS system.
Okay.
They just have to have a data plan that automatically, when the internet goes down, switches over to 4G.
Got it.
It's seamless for their restaurant owner. They don't realize it.
You got to consider it like insurance.
We do it with food trucks all the time.
Right. Okay.
You know, they need internet, they need good internet. That's the first thing we tell them.
Yeah,
is just get a
absolutely.
4G router, then you can hardwire everything, pay the data plan, and you always have good internet.
It's a good sell for you too to make it a little bit more recurring.
Instead of
So
4G. Yeah,
get in with the right people.
Awesome. Thank you.
good question.
Yeah, great questions,
Um,
guys.
Anyone else? Any other questions? Obviously, talk to me afterwards, about this. And Mint's going to be at the booth the next couple days.
Yeah.
Do you remember the booth number?
No, I don't.
All right, it's a big green sign. Look for a big green sign. Says Mint.
You can't miss us.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Cool.
Are we good on time?
Yeah,
Thank you.
doing great on time.
Excellent.
I start the next session here
There you
in
go,
10
Keith.
minutes, so
There you go. Quick break.
there's Pete's information as well. So if you guys need to reach out to him and get more information beyond that.
lead to your POS Pro.
Yes, but obviously, like any of the POS pros, and I'm gonna talk about that for a second before I do the edge. Okay, so I know we don't start the edge software until 2 o'clock, so I want to cover a couple things before we get going on that. I want to highlight again the POS pros team, and for the sake of people here and at home, why we established it.
Your mic, I think, is on.
Check, check. Is that better? Coming through? All right, I think I clicked off. Sorry guys, so we don't start the Edge software one for another like 8 minutes or so, but I just want to spend a little bit more time talking about POS Pros and the idea of solution fitting. I covered this quite a bit in a lot of different sessions, but there's a reason why is because it's really the core of selling software. And that's what today's all about, is helping you guys get to a place to where you're using software to grow your portfolios. So how many has heard, how many here in the room, I know, I'm sorry, I can't see your hands raised at home, but have you guys heard or familiar with the idea of at least my interpretation of solution fitting? Bob in the back, okay. So let me explain it in pretty layman's terms. Solution fitting is the idea that we can establish the correct solution for the merchant. When you look at normally on these roadshows, I do this big product suite overview and I go through all of these different things. It's like the standard. I believe this is the first roadshow where I haven't done that session in probably like 20 roadshows, because simply I didn't have time. We packed a lot of software into this agenda. So solution fitting is the idea, and it's kind of anti what the rest of the industry does. A majority of the industry says, hey, I sell X product. Okay, you can fill that in blank. I'm not going to mention any of their brands or products or whatever, so that way I can't get in trouble later or something. But I sell X product. I go into merchants, and I figure out how to make them fit into that box of that product. Okay, that's what the most people do. Solution fitting says, I'm going to go into the merchant, and I'm going to figure out what box they need. Right? And then because I have access to all of these different solutions, I can then create and make and deliver the right box for them. All of it gets to EPX, all of it hits your portfolio, and everything else the same way, but you actually aren't pigeonholed into one specific solution that you have to make work even if it's not ideal. That's what the POS Pros team is there for, right? They are there to help you, because there's no way I can expect anybody in here, even as smart as some of you are, or at home, to get ridiculously versed in 5, 10, 15 different point of sale solutions, right? It takes years to become an expert in one, much less multiple of them. So that's why POS Pros is there to help you, like back you up with that expertise. So yourpospros.com is their website. You simply go there and put your information in, make some notes. I just did it not too long ago for a pizza place that we're probably looking at Mynt because of the delivery and some of the other stuff, right? I knew that's what it was, but I'm going to let them go through that demo and that exploration process. They want to do edge. They want the true dual price model, right? So that basically boiled it down to 3 options. And I put that information in there, and then I'm helping coordinate that demo and letting them schedule it, let them do it, let them do the paperwork. I can focus on continuing to produce new opportunities, do the sales side of other things, while they nurture that lead, that opportunity, and especially in the POS world, they're helping facilitate that paperwork, right? That I wanted you to kind of hear from me and not just Matt. Like, that's what Matt and his team is there for. They're there to help you succeed in selling more software and growing your portfolio in that manner. Anybody have any questions on the idea of proper solution fitting or POS Pros before basically we're going to wait just a couple more minutes and then I'll get going on the next session? Is there anything online, Chris, that has popped in? Any questions? Anybody got any questions online? Feel free to ask. Okay. Now, one of the things, too, that you guys, even though you've seen a lot of software today, there's a lot more software that we do that's been on other sessions, right? Paradise, Retail Cloud, Growthzilla is a great one for spas and hair salons and appointment-based businesses. So, you know, you're not just seeing everything in this one day. We've got so much more. So, and we even have our own in-house with Micros and CDI Tech and some of the solutions they have through that. They can either through our hospitality get you into Brinks if you needed it. We do not have a payments solution yet to EPX, but we did buy a Brinks dealer. So we can, if you run into somebody like, nope, I want Brinks, love Brinks, we can still help make that happen. So we continue to expand all of the different opportunities. And I'll stand behind this. Even here in Great Atlanta at the SCAA, I would be hard-pressed, and I want somebody to come up and please tell me that I'm wrong so I can stop saying this because I say it on every single roadshow. I have not seen another company in our space serving sales partners, or period, that offer more solutions for success. Like, I don't know of any other company that says, great, you're a sales partner with us, look at all of this. These are all the different resource partners you have that can help you win business. Like, that's been one of my big, goals and passions over the last few years, is to provide more and more and more for you to maximize your potential. You know, I know years ago, Nate did a campaign around the idea, it was no merchant left behind or something like that? No deal left behind. And that's really like the whole idea is if you walk into any type of opportunity, you should have the ability to win that business, right? And can we really provide all the solutions needed to stand behind the idea of no deal left behind. So, all right. Everybody home? Do you care if I move on to the 2 o'clock? I know we're a couple minutes early. Go ahead. They can answer yes or no or whatever there. We get any yeses? Keep it going a little bit? No responses. I'll take it as a yes. Huh?
No objections.
No objections. Okay. So the next session, obviously, we are always going to talk about Edge. There's always going to be a session in these roadshows around Edge. And this is a particularly fun one for me this time because it is software-based. Now, if you go into your partner portal, as I always cover, because undoubtedly there's always going to be questions that I can't answer at the time because we run out of time or whatever else. You go into Tools under Training, and both Edge and Roadshows, there are tons of video training sessions around Edge. I encourage you, you want to have success in this, become an expert in this beyond anything else. If you're going to pick one thing to be an expert in our space in, this is it, especially in light of the last April 4th when Visa put out the memos to acquiring banks, basically saying stop doing fee-based programs and dual price model is the one that we're going to stand behind. Long story short. You want more information on that, feel free to listen to the podcast I did with James Shepard, and you'll learn a whole lot more about the idea of dual price model and how it stacks up against other things in the industry. But just as a quick overcap before I start going into software, and specifically this is a little bit different because I'm going to bring some real life stories in that I've experienced as a merchant myself over the last week since I opened my store, right? We soft opened it on June 4th, right out of the gate with software running Edge. So, but Edge is a dual price model program. All right? And I'm really trying to make sure people understand, and I had a conversation with Kyle earlier on GitHub, right? What he does playing in that space, okay, it's like flying in the same skies, but it's not Edge, okay? Anything that doesn't associate a cash price and a card price to every item and service is not Edge. May accomplish the same goal. When you're dealing with card not present transactions and you do a convenience fee versus ACH, it accomplishes the goal, but I'm not dual pricing everything that I invoice that person for. Therefore, it's not an Edge program. Does that make sense? So what we're going to primarily talk about today is card present environments and what that looks like when you use software to run that properly. You guys have probably seen this before. This is on the website. Again, you will have this in your deck. We were talking earlier, you want ammunition out there right now to go out and proactively and positively have conversations with merchants that are currently, quote, cash discounting by adding a fee and or surcharging. There are so many resources out there. You can look at and I do it in the overview training, I've got that one slide, right? It shows the MasterCard rules. It shows the letter sent by Visa back in 2018. You have this stuff. Have these at your disposal. You know, well, how do you know this is the right thing? Well, let me show you. You know what I mean? Like having that as your, you know, make a fact and having the proof, you're not saying it so, you're using validated third-party factual information. It's ridiculously important. And this is that slide, again, from the training. So both of these slides, print them out and have them in your Padfolio, right? This is, and literally, anybody can Google the rules for MasterCard. They updated again this past January, December. And it didn't change it, right? But it really clearly defines those things. So once you understand that we can no longer, and hey, I've been consistent, you know, for the last 5 years, I said, don't add freaking fees to transactions. It's not compliant and it's not a good customer experience. But now that the industry is starting to go, maybe I shouldn't do this, right? More of our sales partners are going, man, I've been doing this for a couple years now. Maybe it's time I do need to change. I want to talk about understanding dual price programs and how software is the final piece of the puzzle to make your portfolio bulletproof. Okay, and that's one of the things we're going to lead up to is how do you make it so that when somebody walks into my account from another company, there is no value they can bring to the table, right? But to do that first, let's understand dual price programs. A dual price program is a cash price and a card price. Now, since this has come out, I've had a lot of questions about revenue, taxes, and everything else. I'm going to talk about those in a second too, because software helps with those things. It exists on the itemized level. So you have to really understand, am I changing the item price or am I changing the transaction total in some way, shape, or form? If I'm changing the transaction total in some way, shape, or form, whether I'm adding a fee or just adjusting it, that's not dual price. Okay? Dual price means the items that made up that transaction has a card price and a cash price. Either price is charged is revenue, right? So you got to think of it this way. If I organically, I have a business, and I organically raise all of my prices 10%, does the state of Indiana go, oh, you don't have to pay us taxes on those 10% raise? No. If it goes from $100 to $110, I'm going to owe them $70.70, not $7 anymore, right? I'm going to collect that sales tax from the customer, and I'm going to pay it to the state. So that difference between cash price and card price is revenue and is taxable. Sales tax needs to be collected and paid. Revenue is not income. And this is where it's really important to understand terminology, because I had this question literally probably a dozen times in the last 2 or 3 weeks. When somebody puts in Edge, do they have to pay higher taxes on their income? Well, if you understand that Edge is a dual price thing, right, I'm making more money as a company in revenue. That's not income. I still have expenses that come out on that, right? It's revenue, so I'm increasing the top line of the business, and I've got a slide, I'll go through some of the numbers here, but revenue is not income. Income is what that business owner or the employee takes home after all expenses when they pay themselves. So just because a business implements a dual price model does not mean they're going to pay more income taxes necessarily. And that's the question I've gotten repeatedly. It does mean that they're going to pay more state taxes, sales tax, but that also means with proper software and everything else, they should be collecting that sales tax. So it's a net zero to the merchant. The merchant doesn't pay any more taxes just because they have a dual price program or not, because they're collecting it from the customer. Does that make sense? Follow me so far? Okay. The communication, the pricing of the items, how much is product A, comes down to the state level. There is no big, at this point, governing thing that says all businesses must display both prices on every product and shelf. The state of New York says that. Indiana doesn't. Washington State implies it very strongly, as does California. The states dictate commerce and the rules of commerce around that state. So there is no one-size-fits-all signage that I can now send out to every single merchant across the country that allows them to be, quote, Edge or dual price model compliant. I have a customer in Indiana, I have a customer in New York. Those are two very different state-driven guidelines that I have to adhere to. Now, I will say, having both prices on every single item is the best customer experience. And I can attest to that firsthand, okay? Like I said, last Saturday on the 4th, we opened a soft opening with our store, okay? And this, I also dispelled even my own hesitation that higher tickets or items that you can easily get online are going to be harder to apply dual price model to. Because I've faced that resistance in the men's apparel world. I'm a preferred vendor in a large men's apparel network. Those people are so stuck on that somebody's going to research a brand of jeans. They go in their store and they're going to look at it, and if it's already cheaper, they might buy it online and walk out. That's the whole premise of why I designed that keynote, Create an Incredible Customer Experience or Die, because I feel great customer experiences keep the phones in somebody's pocket. So I'm a lifestyle store that's selling $140, $150, $160 pairs of shoes. I'm selling $30 pairs of sunglasses, $13 koozies that look like life jackets, $20 t-shirts. I'm going to freaking do Edge, right? But I also, and Nate and I had this conversation last time, I said, I'm going to do Edge unless I, even on top of me knowing I'm going to provide an incredible experience, I see that it's actually going to cost my business more money by running that because of the average ticket, because of the business type. But I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to try it. And so our first weekend, we did no promoting or anything else. And in fact, I couldn't even print price tags because, lo and behold, Zebra printers won't work with Mac, so I had to order a computer and everything else. So Sunday morning at 6:30 a.m. before I open the doors at 10, I am literally printing price lists for every single item and putting it on the walls, putting it on the racks. Somebody walked up to the sunglasses, and they literally have, I had every single sunglass listed there, cash price, column, card price, column, on everything. Shoes, cash price, card price. And I have a sign up at the front, one that I designed, you guys, some of you have seen it, to help re-explain. And in that process, card after card after card, I've already sold 20-some pairs of shoes without any advertising. 2 of my customers this last weekend actually bought from me to drop ship to their house because of the experience. right? We did proper fittings and everything else. And right there, they paid with card. They know they're paying more. One of the things that I learned through that too, and I love having actual, like, I'm the person behind the counter now, right? I'm going to share some wording that'll help drive that in a second. But again, the communication, I went that route. In Indiana, I didn't have to. In Indiana, I could have just tagged everything with a cash price and put a sign up that says all prices listed are cash. Payment by card is a 4% price difference. And I would have met the Indiana requirements. But I knew, especially because I'm a brand new store, I'm not repricing anything. I have the opportunity to do it fresh. I'm going to do it the way I think provides the greatest customer experience. Now, I also personally now think, and would work with any merchant that I would do, reprice your items. Do a time value of money. If it takes you 80 man-hours to reprice all of your items with 2 prices on it, do the ROI on that, right? If I'm paying 2 employees $15 an hour, so I've got $30 an hour times 80 hours, it's going to cost me $2,400 to price everything out, but I'm going to save $2,000 a month. There's my time value of money on a return on investment to create a better customer experience and meet no matter what my state guidelines are. There are no questions. Understanding how to have the conversation with merchants on applying that is ridiculously important, because all it is labor, right? Especially when you have software driving it. I put Retail Cloud in my store. Retail Cloud runs, and I'll show you some stuff, it perfectly. Retail Cloud also, through the barcode printer, will allow me to print both prices on the barcode. So when you pick up an item, right on the barcode, cash and card. So I don't have to make something up. I did, and I still have it going, like the signs are still up when I get back. That's one of the things I'm gonna be working on, is getting that Zebra. I got my Dell computer the day before I left out here. Gotta have a PC now, even though I'm a Mac person, just to be able to print barcodes, but hey, I'll make it work, right? The properly programmed software, when you understand dual price model, it will itemize the receipts with the correct pricing, which, guess what, I was running it through Retail Cloud was doing. It allowed a consistent communication with both what they saw on the signs, i.e. price tags, what I said behind the system, and the receipt that they walked out with. I'm running a full-blown system on dual price. Having the 2 totals at the bottom of a finalized receipt does not work cleanly. I've seen this repeatedly within Facebook groups. Does this count as dual price? And it has a cash price and a card price total. And then in there, it's still itemized, or let's say all listed at cash. That is not dual price. That will not fly with the card brands. That is okay for a ticket that comes to the table for people to communicate, because they don't know how they're going to pay yet, but the finalized receipt must have the itemized changes per item when somebody selects card payment. So let's talk a little bit about the profit conversation, because understanding the profit conversation is going to help you sell software to win the business. Okay, I'm going to get nerdy. This is a bunch of numbers, and again, you guys are going to have this deck. Okay, but let's say a scenario. The retail business is selling unique apparel. All right, let's say they do $80,000 a month in sales. They have a mix of $70,000 in credit card, $10,000 in cash. Okay, and they're running a 40% net profit margin. Now again, you need to understand some business terminology, the difference between net and gross. Okay, but they're running a 40% net profit. That means before other expenses, they're making $32,000 in net profit. At a 9% gross profit, that's after they do all of their other expenses, their overhead and whatnot, okay, it's $7,200 after payroll and before debt and taxes. The processing effective rate, let's say it's a traditional priced merchant, is 2.47. That means they're paying $1,729 in fees on average. That's part of that difference between the 32 and the 72. Processing fees comes out of that net profit and into the gross. Okay? But let's say we add edge to that merchant, and they don't sell any more or any less. Their product mix stays the same, their card mix stays the same. They organically will make more money. Okay? The revenue goes from $80,000 to $82,800. $72,000, why isn't it more? Because again, it's a $70,000 increase that got the 4% added. I'm not adding 4% to the entire $80,000, just what they did in cards. Okay? So I actually increased the revenue to $82,800. Okay, that's $72,800 in credit cards, still $10K in cash. They have a 42% net profit margin now, meaning they're making $34,800 in net profit. Now remember, the credit card fees come in after that. Now we're washing those out to zero. That line item, yes, will be the difference in that credit card, right? But that means it'll take them from a 9% because their $1,700 is now straight net profit. They don't get expense twice. Equal expense to the increase in revenue on the credit card sales. That means the expense they were paying before becomes net profit. That means their net profit margin goes from 9% to 12% as a business. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is important to understand because when you go back to, does it cost me more money or do I pay more in taxes when I do the EDGE program? It depends on how much you pay yourself in income now. Is the business more profitable? Yes, it is. But if I take that increased profit of $1,700 or $1,729 and I reinvest it in marketing, I reinvest it in something else, I'm taking that and moving it above that line, I'm not paying any more taxes on it. I'm using that capital to make my business stronger. But at the same time, just like any other taxes, okay, so what? I give myself a $1,700 a month raise, and that might cost me a few $100s in taxes. Isn't that an okay thing? Right? So EDGE doesn't cost the merchant more money unless they're taking that in direct income. But what it does do is, let me ask you this. If you're buying a business and you're looking at the books of a business, which one's more valuable and more attractive to you? One that does $80,000 in sales and has a 9% net profit margin, or one that does nearly $83,000 in sales and has a 12% net profit margin? So now all of a sudden, EDGE not only is saving them money, they're making the business more valuable as a business. These are the conversations that most of the people that are in that Lowe's hotel over there do not understand how to have. They do not understand the financial dynamics that a properly run program can actually do for a business, or how to sell it, or how to explain it. Okay? So when you look at software that properly runs EDGE today, we've got Retail Cloud, Mynt, Micros, depending on the database. I always have to throw that caption out there. You walk into SDK, they run Micros, there's no guarantee we can do EDGE in here. Anthony built their database. Okay, I have no idea if he built it with the capabilities of doing that. Okay, but it can be done depending on the database. Paradise, AST, Quick, who you heard from earlier, and then SoftPoint, I worked with them at one point in time as well. But why is software, and as we wrap up this section of it, better than terminals when you're selling EDGE? Okay, the paper trail is flawless. Again, you can do terminals and sell EDGE, but I'm not getting that receipt that shows both items. I'm now in a situation to where I'm explaining to my customers that while, yes, I have the dual price program, that difference that the terminal's collecting is the difference in the price. I then manually have to go back and reconcile it, count it as revenue, figure out the tax, right? All of these things. Even if a customer doesn't understand and files a complaint, the documentation will show the merchant's compliant, though, especially if you have proper communication based on your state guidelines. But software creates a better experience for the customer. It creates a better experience for the merchant staff. It does proper tax collecting. Reporting is accurate and correct. And I'll tell you a quick story. I already kind of knew this. I'm one of those people, and if you've heard my training, how much like words matter, especially in this space. So here I am running our system, running Retail Cloud. And what's great about Retail Cloud, just like Paradise and some of the other ones, and Mynt, I'm the merchant. I see both totals right in front of me. I'm ringing it all up, but right there's a cash and there's a card total. Okay? So now all of a sudden I'm explaining it to the customer. So let me run this one by you. I've already, if you watch my training and I talk about terminals, I'm always left with this situation. Hey, your total's $20. You hand me a card, I'm running it, it's now $20.80. Hold on a second, you just said it was $20. Well, that was before I knew you were paying with card. Didn't you see my signs and all my, is that a good customer experience or not? You can get by with it. The customer may not, will still buy their stuff. They're not going to necessarily complain, but it's not a great customer experience. When you have both totals in front of you, I can now communicate both totals to you. But let me show you one little trick that I figured out. I kind of knew it, but I experimented just because I wanted to watch facial reactions. Okay, I'm using my business as a personal little sandbox. Think about it this way. What are the two different reactions that you go through if I say your cash total is $20 and your card total is $20.80? How would you like to pay? Okay, versus your card total is $20.80, your cash total is $20. How would you like to pay? The difference between saying the card price first and the cash price second, starting high and then giving them lower option, psychologically you think, oh, he's going to offer a savings if I pay with cash. If I say cash price first and then card price, oh, he's charging me more to use my card? They may not think of it that rapidly, that correctly. They may not even ask the question, but I guarantee you that's what's happening back here. So when you have a proper software system that actually communicates both to you, and then the staff is trained. I was playing around with that. I'm like, no, when I'm doing my staff training, this is how they communicate. They must say the card price first and then the cash total. And we do it every single time. And here I am, $180 pair of shoes, $160 pair of shoes, after tax and everything else. Your card price is this, your cash price is this, and they're whipping out the card. Even when they had cash in their wallets. It's wild. I'm like, really? I really thought I'd get a little bit of friction on something like that high of a ticket. And I'm 4% difference, not 3, not 2.5. But again, it goes back to the experience I'm creating in the store, the experience of the communication, the experience at the checkout in what I'm saying and what I'm doing. And I even had some people go, oh, I can save a little bit of money if I pay cash? Yep, we offer a dual price, so people, if they want to pay cash, pay a little bit less. Oh, next time I'll bring in cash. Okay, I'm down with that. As a business owner, I'm profiting, we talked about this earlier, I'm profiting the same whether they pay cash or pay by card. As the sales partner that's also doing it, definitely want the card, right? But as a business owner, yep, bring in cash next time, I'm good. But I'm creating that experience that properly sets it all up. Makes the merchant virtually impossible, and this is the most important thing to understand. Makes the merchant virtually impossible to displace by somebody else. Let's talk about the value of that real quick. But first, I want to show you a couple quick examples. These are from trainings. This is in the product overview, right? This is Retail Cloud, their receipts, cash, and card. And I actually need to get them to update it because with the itemized stuff, it isn't even breaking it down. It's literally changing it. It's even more clean today than it was when they provided these to me. But the cash receipts, I love it. I'm printing off cash receipts, I'm printing off card receipts, it's all itemized, the tax is great. I mean, it is so incredibly easy and it makes sense. And I showed you, this is Paradise's screenshot, and it's similar with Mynt, Retail Cloud, where you have, again, that credit and cash total. Think about it. If you're the one behind the register and all you see is the cash total, that's all you're going to say to the customer. Nobody's going to stand there with a calculator or in their head try to do the difference between cash and card and then say card price first. So you're creating experiences where I'm saying a lower price and then a higher price consistently. Right? So when you get into software and the experience, you end up with a situation like this. I keep showing it because I want it to stick. I've put this in a couple different things, right? A couple different sessions. Actually, I got to watch time. So I put in one of my longtime merchants. He's been with me for 8 years. I was trying to get him to do Edge for the last year. He finally did it. We put in Retail Cloud running on E800s. Now in Indiana, he had so many SKUs. It's like an Amish market. He does $120,000 to $150,000 a month. Pies, donuts, bread, candy. They have a deli in the back. And we covered that place in signage. I'm talking like I spent $200 at the printer to get fancy, nice laminated, not like run it through a laminator and have that crappy kind of, I'm talking like professional laminated sign stuff. We're going to, because of the value of this merchant, we're going to make it look legit. And I told him, first 2 weeks, we blitz it's on every single shelf. It's everywhere. We over-communicate it. After 2 weeks, because he has so many consistent regular customers that come in every week, you pull down half the signs. Another 2 weeks, you pull down some more. You leave them at the register, you leave one on the deli, maybe one on the end cap, and that's it. You're conditioning your customers to understand and you're still communicating it, but we heavily did it on the front end. This is a random text that Doug sent me 2 weeks after we implemented it, right? Two different texts, actually, 2 different days. I'm sitting on a Saturday, and he goes, just had 2 customers share with us they appreciate the option strategy for pricing so much. They said they understand completely what and why we're doing it, and they said, thank you for not raising prices on everything. And then he added, winning them over one at a time. So I've seen in conversations, how do you do an edge program, a dual price program, when you're already in the middle of inflation? Well, right now, in the middle of inflation, everybody's looking for a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a win. Dual price gives that, right? It gives the cash-paying customers an option to save a little bit of money. And when you look at actual and understand basic business principles, how many people understand the difference between fixed and variable expenses? Okay? When I sell a pair of shoes to somebody, traditionally, I have the exact same fixed and variable expenses on that I need to make up out of that pair of shoes until when? Until payment. I have one more variable expense that changes based on payment method. If they pay with a card, I have a credit card expense. If they pay with cash, I don't. So why shouldn't I have a program that allows me, for the people that cost me less expense, to save them a little bit of money? Right? Understanding, and when you have that kind of conversation with a business owner, you're talking their language. They're getting it, and you're winning business. Another text. I just want to give you an encouraging word. Other than meeting you, this POS system and program is the best thing I've ever encountered in my life. Things are going so extremely well. I'm so grateful you pushed me to do this. Thank you so much. I trust your expertise. That's the key word. Expertise in even greater ways. Now, with him too, again, remember the referral cycle stuff earlier? He had roughly $6,400 or so in expense to put 2 workstations in. He was ready to write a check for all of it. I paid for half. Wasn't a placement, wasn't anything like that. And Doug was like, are you sure? I'm like, look, Doug, I'm going to make more money. You're going to save money. But I also understand and know you after doing business with you so long. You're going to become my biggest advocate in the Fort Wayne market for this. I'm partnering you on this. We're partners on making this program work. That means I'm going to share some of the expense too. And he has been sending me referrals already. That $3,200 investment in hardware will reap its rewards in spades. I'm not afraid to spend money to make money. Crap, Cloud9 Multisport has cost me a small fortune to get that thing going, okay? And it's a long-term game. Sales tactics against cash discount. Wording and how it's sold. Right? Everybody wants to know how to sell against it, and this is why I say software is that final value add to make your accounts bulletproof, okay? And this is some of the stuff you and I talked about earlier, right? What are some of the things that I can say? Are you aware of the latest bulletin that Visa issued in April about the program you're running? I'm not going to call them out. I'm not going to say you're doing something illegal. Are you aware of it? By asking that question, no, I'm not. What is it? Your person hasn't come around and showed you? They haven't offered you a dual price model program that'll help you keep doing what you're doing, right? Opening-ended questions. That doesn't badmouth, that doesn't trash their program, but that allows you to become that expert that they currently don't have. We have a program that doesn't violate the card brand rules and allows you to accomplish the same end result, which I want you to do, as well as a better customer experience. With your current program, do you claim the fees you collect as revenue? And again, these are questions, because these are questions I see all the time in this space, not just from NAB partners, but I'm in all those different Facebook groups within the industry, and these are the questions that people always post and ask. Is it sales? Do they have to say tax on it? Do they do this? So if sales partners have those questions, do you think merchants do? Right? So why not ask some of those questions? Again, I'm trying to open up those seeds and plant doubt. Right? With your current program, do you claim the fees you collect as revenue? No. How do you think your state feels about that? Right? When are they coming knocking? Okay? Do you find the accounting while on this program that has been difficult? Even our own Edge program, if you use terminals, how many guys have heard that from merchants? I've heard it from merchants, partners. How do I explain the accounting? How do I do this? How do I do that? Okay? What if I could provide you with software and hardware that will run our Edge program properly, removing the accounting headaches, and give you the tools that will help you run your business and grow? Think about it, right? When you have Edge software and you create untouchable merchants. This is the most valuable portfolio and merchant base you could possibly have. You have the Edge program, which we all know is the big win. Merchants save money, we make more money. You provide incredible service. You're building relationships. The only other piece is software. If you sell a terminal in on top of their existing system or with a register, somebody else, that means you're keeping that door open for somebody else to provide a dual price program. There will be more hitting the markets. There already is, and people doing them. Okay? We just happen to be the leader on that runway, thankfully. There are going to be other people that are also really cool, that can build relationships. Crap, it might even be their brother-in-law. But if they walk in the door and offer your merchant software, they offer to replace your terminal that's currently running Edge with a POS system that'll do it for them, that will fix the pain that I just went through in here on accounting, taxing, reporting. Now they've made your customer, they've taken it from you, and they've made it untouchable. It's ridiculously important to look at your customer base, and you might need to go back and resell them software to make them bulletproof. But if you're out there prospecting, and right now the market is ripe with tons of cash discount merchants out there that are running terminals. And if you can walk in with a substantial program and all the talking points to have a financial and proper, respectful, compliant conversation with them and offer them software, you have the opportunity to disrupt that market in your marketplace. 3 action items to sell more edge combined with software, and then I'm going to turn it over to Authorized.net if they're here. I haven't seen them yet. Address the other pain points that software will solve. Right? This goes back beyond edge. Forget edge for a second. When we do all of the POS education, right? And you start having conversations about, oh, you want to be able to do this, this, and this? Yep, I have a software for that. Again, it's why I talked about solution fitting in the few minutes before we started. That's point number 1. Number 2, remove any price-based selling from your marketing and your selling process. You are not selling 0 fees. You are not selling saving you money. The minute you start having conversations that are price-based, you shoot yourself in the foot from having value-based conversations. And if you want them to run software, you better be having a value-based conversation, because you might not be paying for it all. If you have a price-based conversation and then they want software, and I can tell you, I've seen this, I've felt it, I've heard it from sales partners. Well, you're going to give me that for free? Because you're existing in this price world where now they want everything for free. So that means if I'm leading with, this will cost you nothing, oh, but I want you to buy a $3,000 system. What? You said it would cost me nothing. Because I started out at a price-based conversation. And then the third, you take this and combine the power of this new conversation with that 10-stage sales cycle that we talked about earlier, add spades on that. You know that these are more valuable than any other merchants out there. Could you imagine if every single one of your merchants that you sold were an edge merchant on software and they also referred merchants to you that would be edge merchants on software? Think about it from a time value of money. How much less time would you have to be out there actually selling accounts to make the same, if not more, money that you're making today? How much more money would you make if you're putting the same effort in, but you're applying it to that 10-stage sales cycle? Like, this is the kind of stuff when you layer things that can be absolutely life-changing. I'm not saying that just like, hey, I'm up here, boo. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, do the math. Do the math, right? You only have so much time, energy, and money. You put that in what is the most profitable and you do it actionably with those 10 stages earlier, you will create more results that make more money. Any questions at all on Edge? This, software, anything. Okay, I'm going to go online first. And honestly, guys, and everybody on loan, Bryce is not here yet from Authorized.net. So I'm going to take Edge questions until he shows up. And if he doesn't show up, I'll do the best I can to run through their deck. How's that sound? Because I know there's dual price and Edge questions like crazy. So we'll start with one online. We'll piggyback. We'll do one online, we'll do in the room, and go back and forth.
All right. First question online is, where can someone look for resources as far as state-level pricing rules?
Okay. There is this amazing website that's perfect for this. Is everybody ready to write it down? You ready to write it down at home? Okay. G-O-O-G-L-E. Okay. Every state has a different website. Literally, and I posted this in the Facebook group. Go to Google, type in the name of your state, and I can't remember the exact terminology off the top of my head. Hold on, I'll tell you. But it's on the Facebook group. I literally put it in there. But it's literally like fill in the blank state, pricing communication guidelines. There's some couple basic keyword searches. You will find articles. You will find state websites, anything like that. Like, there is no one big website, one tool, and it's impossible to actually build, because at any point in time, think about it, it would take one person or myself, whoever, an immense amount of hours to build the databases with all the references and everything else, and the state of Kentucky next week could meet as a state and change their guidelines. Who's going to keep up with it? Now all of a sudden I'm a source of wrong information. I don't want that liability, right? So Google's going to be your best friend when it comes to any kind of that research. All right, you had one?
Yes. Is there, like Clover and Square, do they have a similar type program that offers
Okay, so the question is Clover or Square offering a similar program to Edge? All right, to my knowledge, you can do a fee-based program on Square. They have some workarounds on the backside and treat it like a surcharge or a service fee. That's obviously what the card brands don't want done, okay? Clover is not like Square. Clover has apps. They have an app store. There's an app that does it pretty close, but I personally, I don't know Clover really, really well, but I've not seen anybody take me through or show me Clover software and the receipts that it prints a true cash price and card price based on payment tender on any Clover app or software like the ones I showed you before do that we've worked with to do that proper programming, right? And I could be wrong because I don't know Clover that well. Now, that doesn't mean somebody's not developing it, because like I said, we just happen to be the first, but there's nothing, what's the word I'm looking for? Copyright-ish about the idea of charging a cash price and a card price. It's just, can people build the software to do it properly? And different software is different. When I worked with Vend, which eventually became Lightspeed, they could not. Their entire software database, the whole thing was built on a foundation that did not make doing dual price model possible. They would have had to rewrite and rebuild the entire system. Okay, there's another one we worked with that's on EPX. It's a hospitality one, same thing. Met them. They said, yeah, it'll cost us like $120,000 internal costs to be able to do Edge. Okay, what's your ROI? You know, if you spend $120,000, do you think you can get that lift by sales partners selling it because they're the ones that's not profiting from the processing profit? They would just profit from the ability of it being a solution that did it. Okay, you got another question?
Yes, I work out of a marketplace where multiple vendors are, and they're saying that they want to mandate everyone in there to use Clover. Why do you think that is, and is it possible that we can get them to?
Okay, so the question for everybody at home is, Arlene over here works in a marketplace where they're trying to mandate everybody to use Clover. Okay, so number one, I don't know how or why they could actually enforce that mandate. You'd have to look at leases and everything else. They might want to be providing a similar payment experience, so that way it doesn't matter who you go into. You know it's going to look like this. It's going to feel like this. You're going to have the option of a text and email receipts. You know what I mean? Like, that could be my only thought, and nobody has presented them other options, right? So the way that I would probably approach that is I would go in and ask why. Like, why are you mandating this? And then if you understand the why, once you understand what they're trying to accomplish, now I can walk in and go, I have other means to help you accomplish that. Do you mind going with somebody who's local instead of this, you know what I mean? Like, and then I'm opening up that door, but you have to understand their why first to be able to then address the what. Do you have anything online? Because I'm going to try to go back and forth here.
There is one, if a merchant is using a solution like QuickBooks, is there a recommendation on whether they should have a line item to account for the Edge percentage?
All right, so if they're using QuickBooks, then you need to be going through ChargeZoom, and then you have to look at, is it only a CNP, meaning card not present, environment type situation? And then if it is, then you can add a fee, but you have to give that merchant another form of payment option. So then, do you have ACH embedded as a payment option, or do you have the ability to send me a check instead, right? And then you're treating it as a line item in a card not present environment, which then does not become an Edge merchant, right? It still runs on the same kind of background, 4%, 3.8461, but card not present only environments are dictated by the card brands through convenience fee guidelines, not surcharge guidelines. So that's a different kind of conversation. Okay, you got another one, but you had one here. I'm going to try to go back and forth.
For merchants who already have existing POS solutions,
Yep.
Clover, Toast, Square,
Yep.
and they like their POS solution for POS specifically, but they want to offset the fees on the cards.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a workaround to allow them to still keep the current POS that they have and maybe utilize like a sidecar terminal or a different way of taking payment?
Yeah, so you're still going to run into a situation where the receipts aren't going to flow right. You're going to run into a situation if it's a hospitality situation. What about tips? Tips become an accounting nightmare, right? Because then you're going back into the ticket. I mean, there's so many things that a non-integrated solution is headaches on. Okay, I kind of talked about here's your, like if you have a system that's going, well, here's your price, but I'm actually charging you more. It's the same thing as a cash register at that point and running a terminal. It's an inconsistent experience. Can it be done? Yes. Is it an ideal thing? No. Are the receipts going to match up? No. And then you deal with, if it's a Toast or some other ones, they may have, depending on their contract, and I'm not completely up to date on this, there might be action that Toast can take against the merchant if the merchant's not using them for payment processing, if they're still under contract, right? So then you're running into some of those things. I would still, at the end of the day, sit there and go, look, I got to replace your system. It goes back to everything that we did here. You want the accounting to match. You want the tips to be right. You want this, you want this, you want this. Then let's find, I'm going to go back to reselling POS. What do you like about your system? What don't you like about your system? What do you wish it did? We already know it can't do Edge. Is that your number 1 priority? Is that your number 5 priority? Right? And understanding here's my wish list and here's the priority order. Now all of a sudden you might have an opportunity to displace those 3 systems or any other system with one that will actually meet their needs, give them happier, and allow them to do it, and it'll all be integrated.
Thank you.
Yep. Question online.
There's a question, will the Pay Anywhere app have the credit price and cash price on the paper receipts?
So the Pay Anywhere app, if you are in my trainings at all, the question was the Pay Anywhere app, will it have the cash price and the card price on the receipts? Eventually it will. Right now in terminal mode, and that's the thing. So remember, Pay Anywhere has 2 different modes. It has terminal mode and it has retail mode. There's not going to be an itemized price in retail mode anyways. Okay, so no, it's not going to have anything broken down on there. So that means you have to then go into retail mode to have itemized pricing. And right now, it does not work with Edge. Do not sell Pay Anywhere in retail mode combined with Edge. 2 different big reasons. It's short collecting the tax. It's only collecting the tax as if it was a cash transaction. And then it's taking the difference and dividing it equally among the items in the cart. So, for example, I sell you 4 items, a $1 item, a $2 item, a $7 item, and a $90 item. Cash total before tax is $100, so in Indiana it would be $107. Card price would be $104, so it should be $111.28. I hit card, it's $111. I just short collected 28 cents from you. Take that over transaction after transaction all month long, all year long. Do I want to do that to a merchant? Nope. The other thing too is that $1 item, that $2 item, the $7 item, and the $90 item becomes a $2 item, a $3 item, an $80 item, and a $91 item. It took that $4 difference and divided it evenly amongst the items in the cart. How in the heck do I communicate a dual price model when the second price is constantly moving? Imagine getting home with that receipt and it communicated a 4% difference on price and you look, hold on a second, this $1 candy bar, they charged me $2 for it? They're not going to look beyond that first item down to the total and go, oh, the total's still the same. They're going to be like, what in the world? I'm not going back there. If you do, don't call me. Okay, you have a question?
It was kind of about the same thing. So 99.9% of the merchants who have or run the transaction in the terminal, they already run the taxes. They added up the
Okay.
taxes, they do the total on it, and then they put it on the terminal.
Yep.
The tax is already there.
So what you're describing, and so everybody at home, Ruth was asking the question, and when somebody puts in the total already, the taxes are already in, you're 100% right. What I'm talking about is retail mode. I'm not entering in anything. Retail mode is doing the items. Okay, but let's talk about terminal mode for a second. Terminal mode, if I do have it in terminal mode, and I say this, sell Pay Anywhere all day long in terminal mode. Because yes, if I have a cash register, and I typed in $100 and it changes it to $107, and I type it into Pay Anywhere, it is collecting $111.28. You see what I'm saying? So in a keyed in terminal mode, it's doing it correctly. Where it's shortchanging the tax is only in retail mode.
But the point is, if we can use Edge with the software, with showing and they receive the cash price and the credit card price.
Not in Pay Anywhere.
So when are they going to have it?
I have no idea. I've been pushing for it for 2 years.
So what do they use then?
Huh? Retail Cloud. Okay, so when I did my store, I opened it up with the A920 on Retail Cloud. I couldn't get an E800. The only reason why I got an E800 is because I happen to know a couple people in the industry, and I was able to get one, right? But when
In Indiana, which is
7% sales tax. Okay, so I was running Retail Cloud on an A920, running sales on it, right? And the receipts were still printing properly. It still has the cash card price. I could still see it. So if you need to have something small like that, and you're looking at Pay Anywhere in retail mode, it's like, oh man, I really need to do Pay Anywhere in retail mode because I need an A920. Don't sell Pay Anywhere, sell Retail Cloud, and use Retail Cloud and do it right. Just being straight up there. Did anything online?
Just a clarification on the QuickBooks question.
Okay.
If it's a retail merchant, 'cause you mentioned ChargeZoom, they said that.
Okay, so the question is if it's a QuickBooks merchant and a retail merchant, okay? So number one, there is no integration that I know of if they're using, so there's two different ways to look at this. If they're using QuickBooks POS, there is no integration for that. Change them to a different POS. But I understand, but if you're QuickBooks and you're doing invoicing, that still becomes a card not present transaction. So now all of a sudden I'm adding a convenience fee if you're going to pay CNP, or you can come in my store and pay cash. You know what I mean? So it becomes a little bit more gray, but if they're going to do dual price, now all of a sudden, and this is kind of that hybrid, okay, what if I have retail and I have card not present? Then essentially I'm running dual price and I'm communicating through QuickBooks. Hey, if I have to invoice you through QuickBooks, that difference in the cash price and card price is going to appear through this method because it's the only way that I can capture it. Or you can send me a check or you can come in and pay cash, right? I'm still pricing my items. I'm still meeting the state guidelines on this. It's not as clean, but if you communicate it, at least the customer understands what's going on. Does that help? I think if whoever asked that online, I think just type in and see if that helps add clarification. Arlene, you got another question?
Yes, I have people that tell me that Clover is offering them grants and loans.
What's that?
Clover, they said that Clover is offering them loans and grants. So they don't want to switch over because if they do a certain amount of business, Clover is financing.
Okay, so the question is, Arlene's being told that Clover is offering them loans and grants. I would say, to my knowledge, Clover's not the one offering them loans and grants. Whoever's selling the Clover is, right? It could be a bank. So for example, up in my area, Fifth Third Bank, they sell Clover. Now, if Fifth Third Bank is the provider of Clover and Fifth Third Bank is providing loans and grants and helping facilitate that, or it could be like if, let's say, I just got a $14,000 loan grant for my store from KEDCO, Kosciuszko Economic Development Committee. Let's say KEDCO decided they wanted to be in merchant services as a revenue center and they want to sell Clover, right? They're the reseller. They're like you. They're an agent that's happened to provide Clover. Fiserv is not offering loans and grants. Now, there may be some other people in there that are doing capital advances, which we can do through Cash Buoy, right? But that's not Clover doing it. It's just whatever spiel that they're saying or doing. And again, I could be completely wrong. Fiserv could be trying to do a small business push, but I mean, yeah, I got people shaking my head that that's not happening. So I would go say, and that becomes the question, who are you getting Clover from? Like, understanding who's providing Clover is going to open up more information for you to be able to get and understand the scenario.
What that is called Clover Capital. The Clover Capital, they do offer loans to their.
Yeah. But it's the same thing that you can do for cash advance, right? Except it's not a loan, but that Clover Capital is capital advance. And there's a difference between, so a loan, you're borrowing money, it's on your credit score, all this other stuff, long story short. Capital advances is an advance against your future sales. I'm going to give you $10,000, and in turn, I'm going to charge you a higher rate, but I'm going to keep a portion of your sales every single day until that total plus the higher rate is recouped. You can offer the exact same thing in the NAB ecosphere. Okay, let's bounce across the room, and I'll come back to you, Ruth. Jefferson.
I see on the Edge program that when the ticket amount is small, it's really easy for the merchant to don't deal with the customer too much because in a restaurant, for example, a fast food restaurant is $20, $11, and usually customer doesn't complain for the Edge because but when, for example, when you go, you have a mechanic or insurance agent that have to charge $400 to make the deposits for, and they see that, they complain a lot. Any tip for that?
So the question that Jefferson's asking is the difference between hearing the customer experience complaints between like a small ticket and a really large ticket like an automotive shop, okay? I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the experience that is first. If I own an automotive shop and I crush it on the experience side. I'm talking you come in, smells good, it's clean. I'm giving you a beer if you're a beer drinker, a glass of champagne if you drink champagne while you're sitting there. Like, and just imagine the most amazing automotive repair experience ever, right? And I have, hey, a card price and a cash price for all my things. And again, it goes back to the thing. I say, hey, it's $1,080 or $1,040 in card, $1,000 in cash. How would you like to pay? And I've created an experience that doesn't have the opportunity for friction or question. I'm probably not going to have that things of resistance. But if you walk in and it's the same old smelly, stinky, greasy dog sitting over there on the side slobbering on the floor automotive shop that we sometimes experience, and they're going, yeah, that'll be $1,000 in cash and $1,040 in card, of course you're going to have a negative experience, right? So much of what people, they want to figure out a way to solve customer complaints with math. And instead of actually looking at the environment and experience that's created as actually being the solve to the customer complaints. You want to save more money and you want to make more money, help them create a better experience, right? Teach them how to do it better. That being said, on a high ticket, this is why, if needed, we push 4%. Go down to 3 if you have to, right? If that becomes, now all of a sudden it's a price and the amount, and oh my gosh, it's too much money, blah, 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 because the ticket is so high, we have a sliding scale, you do a different flat rate on there, or you can even say, look, I can set up the programming to do 3% price difference. I still got to charge you 3.8461, but right now you're paying 2.7. It just means you're going to pay roughly less than 1%. So you're going to recoup some of it, you're just not going to recoup all of it, right? And I'm still trying to sell the value without reducing price. And it still comes down to, I want to sell it based on value, not on price.
Now, when you say, for example, if you have a restaurant on the Edge program, correct me, I didn't understand that you say as a retail, if I consider the restaurant a retail.
It all, again, experience and merchants. The question is the difference between restaurant and retail. And I get this all the time, so I'm jumping ahead of you to answer. STK. Look at the ticket size, look at the clientele. They can change market price based on stuff. Do you think Edge would fly in a place like this when they can at will change their menus based on market price of meat and seafood and everything else? No. I was in last night, it was probably a $400 or $500 bill. Like, and then to just sit there and try to have that kind of an incredible experience, that kind of thing, and then the servers, I mean, the servers aren't going to sit there and want to explain why it's a cash price, car price. No, it would never fly in something like this. But my buddy's burger place, Oak and Alley in Warsaw, that I might buy also, they do $70,000 to $80,000 a month. Currently uses Square. Okay, his menu is 2 pages. He's got starters, appetizers, sides, and then burgers. That's easy. Now all of a sudden I'm posting that burger in there at $9.99 or $10.39. I'm just going to add both prices right to the menu, card and cash, just like I did in my store. Because it's a simple menu. I mean, still big money. Their average ticket's probably $80 or more, and he's really underutilizing his cocktail and bar aspect. Okay? But I have a 2-page menu that it's a different experience. That it would fly on. Something like this, it won't. So now I have some people that argue, oh, I've done it in 5-star places. Great. Let's talk about it a year from now and let's see what their actual numbers have done, what their customer experience has done. Do their customers continue to go back after that first experience? Because there's a big difference in people doing it and walking out and not coming back, right? And it's one of those things that I sit there and I say to people that add a fee to the transactions. Great. Because they go, oh, well, my customers never say anything about the fee. Okay, but just like I asked you, do you like paying fees? No. Then what makes you think your customer's going to? And if you provided an experience that they didn't like, are they coming back less often? Are they not telling their friends about you? I know you're saving money, but how much business are you losing because of it? Because of the way you're doing it and the experience that you're creating. So for me to sit there and answer in hospitality, is it a one-size-fits-all type thing? It's going to come down to the merchant. Now, that being said, SDK could call me up next week and say, Keith, Anthony's going to program this thing. We want to save $50,000 a month or whatever it is that they're spending on credit card processing across all locations. All right, let's go. I'll train your staff and everything on how to do it. I'm just saying, it's going to come down to that particular merchant. Any question? Do you had a question? Okay.
Yeah, you referenced New York a few times.
Yep.
I'm just curious, for the average partner who's leveraging the equipment given by NAB or Paper Tech, the signage that's provided, and the typical...
Not enough in New York. So basically, I'll kind of jump ahead. So the question was, if somebody's using the stereotypical signage provided by us, the equipment provided by us, is that good enough? Okay, so what we have done by putting out signage, it's like going, okay, here's a basis. If the card brands were to ever look at anything, hey, here's what we're providing to kind of step people into communication. But when you look at New York, that literally says in their law, if you do any program like this, you must have both prices listed on every item, shelf, menu, and menu board. And then they go beyond that. Here's the real stickler on that. Okay, technically in New York, you can't even do true cash discount legally. And true cash discount says I walk in and this remote's $100, I pay with cash, I pay less. So if I sit there and say I offer a 4% cash discount, in the state of New York, I must have both prices listed because they have this kicker at the end of it. The customer can do no math. If all I'm doing is saying I offer a discount at a percentage less when you pay with cash, do I have to do math or not? Yes, I have to do math, which means they're breaking the rules. So New York is the strictest that I know of on record when it comes to mandating pricing of products and services in this space. So definitely our signs won't cut it in New York. So our signs go out, and that's why I always train people. Work with your merchants to understand their state guidelines and laws. Work with them to create a great customer experience, because while you might meet their customer guide, like I did with my buddy Noltz, right? We could have slapped a couple signs up and met the Indiana guidelines. Nope, I spent $200 and some on printing nice laminated signs, and we plastered it. Because I know, both financially and long term, you spend a little bit more money, you over communicate it, you educate the customer base, you create a better customer experience with them, which means less friction, and you get the text messages like I got. Which means those people continue to spend money, continue to go back, my residuals stay up there, his business stays up there. Right?
So dual pricing has to be put on every item
in New York.
Store in the state of New York.
Yep.
Then signage isn't really needed at that point.
I mean, again, I would still have signage on the front door that says all items have a cash and card price. Pay with cash and save. I mean, something, because again, I always tell people, put yourself in the consumer's shoes. What would I need to experience to sit there and go, I clearly understand it, I walk out and I had a 10 at that store, or on a website, right? It's why people sit there and go, oh, can I do Edge on e-commerce? What is the biggest villain to e-commerce? Anybody know?
No cash price.
Nope. Cart abandonment. Cart abandonment is the big evil bad monster in the closet in e-commerce. Cart abandonment means I put stuff in the cart and I never finished. I didn't buy it. Think about the friction on an online. People that shop online want easy, clear, click, pay, it's on its way. Think about the friction you start to have. Could you imagine that the last thing you bought online, there was a card price and a cash price. Now you got to put your routing number and account number in there to actually have, and the shopping cart has to do AC. I mean, click, cart abandonment. I'll go to this website where it's the same price. I'll just put Apple Pay and I'm done. Right? I always encourage people, put yourself in that honest. Take off the fact that, yes, I'm seeing dollar signs through my glasses. Take those glasses off. I am the buyer. Is this a good experience or is it not? And if it's not, how can I either make it better or how can I go, I'm not going to waste any time and energy in here because I can make way more money over here. Does that make sense? Okay. Yep. Any questions? Chris, anything coming in online? Well, you know what? Authorized.net didn't show up. I don't know why. They won't be very happy about that. So you'll have some of their information in the deck, and I will try to get them included in there. Obviously, they're part of Visa. I do want to make sure you guys understand that. And they are working on doing some of the proper convenience fee things with ACH and everything else. So I'm working with the team on making sure that they are a resource for that. And on that note, Hot Sauce is going to come up here. So I'm going to take 2 seconds. I'm going to get them mic'd up, and we will be back with Hot Sauce. Huh? I took that out. It's right there. All right, where'd that other mic go? Here it is. Dude, don't jacket. I have a jacket back there too. I'm not. I don't love you guys that much. I left my jacket over there. That's fine. No. So real quick, guys. Thanks again for joining us. Of the day. Before I do a closing comment, Kai and Dan, I've known for years. Hot Sauce has been a great partner with NB and our sales partners. They are an awesome server-based point-of-sale system, and like the easiest thing that I can explain it to, it's when I've sold Hot Sauce, is if people like Aloha and the way that it functions, it's the closest thing out there that kind of follows that same thing. So that's one of the key points, like, well, hey, I used to work at a place that had Aloha. I like it. You know, when I hear things like that, I'm automatically going Hot Sauce. They're going to talk about a whole lot more than that.
I am Dan Keevan. I'm with Hot Sauce Technologies myself as well. Been with Hot Sauce for about 6 years now, but I come from the restaurant industry myself, and that really kind of speaks to what Hot Sauce is about. We are a food and beverage-based POS system, and we really stick with what we know. We know our role, and we stay in our lane. We don't try to be everything to everybody. We try to focus on what we know we're good with, and support our customers. Get those types of customers who, you know, you sell once, you don't hear from them again for another 7-8 years until they finally are ready to start maybe looking at some new hardware or something along those lines. To that end, we are a stable company. We've been around for over 20 years now. Every single feature that we have on here. POSs, about 95% of everything they do is fairly common throughout all of it. What we're here to do is talk about why we've been around for 20 years and why we still are pushing new services, new products, and growing kind of like we never really have before. So about 3 years ago, we did partner with a hardware manufacturer, PartnerTech, and what that allowed us to do is it allowed us to take a lot of these very common features that we have, but we're now able to offer them to our merchants without having to tie it into a specific platform or without having to kind of shrink down what sort of hardware that we're looking at and offer maybe a cloud-based solution that's just some rinky-dink tablets. We still stick with legacy-style, full-blown computers that we are providing to our clients. It means they're more stable. It means if they go offline, they still have options to keep on going with business without having to now go into some offline mode where they lose most of what they've done. And so that relationship has really allowed us to push these services to where in the last 3 years with COVID, we haven't seen interruptions in our supply chain. We have seen a growth in sales, not a retraction. That partnership has come to define a lot of what Hot Sauce is able to offer currently now. This is the hardware that we're currently using, but we actually are already in the process of switching this out to a newer model of terminal. Once again, that comes because we have that partnership with them, and they are able to offer the hardware without us having to put a huge down payment on it like we used to. As I said, I'm not going to go through every feature. I am going to be here for the Q&A piece to answer any specifics. But to talk about that relationship with PartnerTech, Kai Shu is really the one who has driven that and is the one who is responsible for us taking off that way.
Thanks, Dan. So first of all, oh, wow, I got some people clapping. But yeah, first of all, for everybody that's on the internet, very excited to be here. Like Dan said, we have been around for a long time. We have a pretty robust, I think, POS, and just like everybody else. But I think really what sets us apart, and I want to share with you guys today, this program that we've had for about 2-3 years now, something that we're really excited about, and we're excited because we created this program really for the merchant processing industry. The convergence of merchant processing and POS has been happening for a few years now. All of you guys have probably been up against guys like Toast, Harbor Touch, things like that, and you're going, how do I sell against these guys? They're coming in with everything, and well, this is why we're very proud of what we created, because we essentially created a program that allows you to go out to the market and be able to offer exactly what these guys are offering. At the same time, you're holding on to your own merchant processing, right? You're not being dictated to in terms of, hey, you have to use this processing with this POS, right? So that's, I think, something we're very excited about that I want to share with you. So this started about 3 years ago, I think, 3-4 years ago. We went and we sought out a company that we had been working with for years, had a great relationship, a company out of Taiwan that we went to and said, look, guys, we believe there's a great market out there if we can come together and offer this as a SaaS model. And literally, if you guys want to get into detail, literally what we said to them is, look, you're a hardware company. You guys are looking at us going, hey, man, we're salivating at the type of margins you guys have, right? Because as a hardware company, they're making maybe 5-10% of margin on what they sell. But I said, I'm looking at you going, you have a lot of cash, right? I don't have that cash. Every time you retool an assembly line, it may cost you $100 million, right? So the company that we're talking about is called Kesta. Now, most of you probably haven't heard of Kesta, but you probably heard a lot of their brands. You probably heard of, they own a lot of different brands. They're a $20 billion company that's publicly traded. Some of their brands include like Asus computers. How many people have bought laptops that have seen that? BenQ Electronics, which competes not as much in the U.S., but worldwide. They compete a lot with the LGs and the Samsungs on electronics and things like that. So we went to these guys and said, let's put together this partnership. We believe if you can provide us quality hardware, we can go out there and there's a big segment of the market that doesn't want to be controlled by the Toast or the Shift4s, and they want to be able to do you know, and to be able to sell processing from NAB, you know, and be able to put in a POS that works quite well and seamlessly with this program. So that's what we've done. In the last few years, especially during COVID, the last 2 or 3 years, some of the things that we've been really proud of that we've accomplished is, one, we've worked out a lot of, you know, it's one thing to say, hey, I'm going to sell POS, and I'm going to ask merchant processing partners to sell it for us. But in our history, we've gone through some growing pains. You know, we realized that, hey, it's not that easy. I mean, there are a lot of things, if you want to support the merchant processing industry, there are a lot of things in our process procedures that we have to work on. We spent the last 2 or 3 years doing that. And, you know, one of our great partners is PayPro Tech and NAB. And you know, someone the other day told me they're really proud of the way we've grown this partnership together. I mean, we've gone through some pain points, but you know, we now have a program that is just ready to go, and it's just, I don't know what else to say other than it's very seamless. It's very flawless. That's one of the areas I think that we really want to that really I think allows us to help you guys, right? Another area that I think is worth mentioning is during this time, I mean, we all know that the Spanish-speaking market is huge. You know, I mean, it's a market in the U.S. that's growing rapidly. What we have done also is that as of about a year ago, we invested heavily in a call center in Mexico City. We now have 20 some odd agents that are bilingual, that speaks Spanish as well as English. And that allows us to serve that growing segment of the market and to be able to serve it very well. So those are little things that I think that we put together that we hopefully, you know, will be able to partner with all of these wonderful agents and ISOs that I'm seeing today, and really give you something that you can take out to the market and combat the guys and not be able to say, you know, and come to these events and say, what do I do about Toast? You know, what do I do about Harbor Touch? You know, they're just offering these great pricing. And so hopefully you're able to go to them and say, look, you know, this is what I'm selling, and we have both the processing and the the processing and the POS. So that's pretty much it, I think. Did I miss anything here? Yeah? Any Q&As? Sorry.
Are they hybrid? Like half on the cloud and
That's a great question. That's a great question.
how does it work? I mean, are they stable? Because that's what I
Absolutely. So that's a great question. So the question is, you know, in terms of our system, because Dan mentioned earlier that, you know, we're server-based, and, you know, I don't have to get into, everybody knows kind of the positive negatives of each. But one thing that you know, the question that came up, you know, are we like a hybrid? And the question is yes. I mean, we're a hybrid in the sense that we are server-based, but we also have the cloud backup, right? So that allows you to be able to do both. So, you know, if the internet goes down, you know, we have Comcast here. I don't, you know, in other parts of the country, whoever your cable provider is, if that goes down on a Friday night, you know, with our system, you just shrug it off. Comes back in an hour, great. You know, because you're working off of that local server. But at the same time, you know, every, I think it's 15 minutes or so, you know, the database gets backed up into the cloud, and you can be, you know, you can have all of your information in the cloud.
There are also additional cloud services like our gift cards, our enterprise reporting, our online ordering. And so there are pieces where, you know, you sell a gift card, it's not existing just at that store. It's on a cloud server so that that gift card can now be honored at any number of locations they may have. So we chose to get a lot of the cloud services that are important for the rest of the businesses, but still keep the stability in-house with the rest of the server.
Question for you. When you talk about existing merchants and ones that you've had for 6 years, might need an upgrade to their system.
Yeah. Like the hardware, started slowing down, and we've been done like versions updates and the softwares.
Yeah.
But they've been asking me, we need something better, we need something greater. So I have a question: does the new one that you have is easier to get into the back office?
Sorry, what was that?
And it's easier to get into the back office to change items because it was kind of tedious to get into the back office. Like in the new one, can we get into the back office from the same, because it's hybrid now, I'm assuming.
The question is with hot sauce, is it easier to get into the back office?
Yeah, it's easier.
And I believe what you're referring to is like while we don't still have a portal online that's a back office like some of the cloud-based systems, we have started making it a little bit more available. There's some free remote access programs that we've been able to set our merchants up with to where they can log into their computer on site and still make changes if they need to. And there's any number of 4 to 6 different programs that they may use that have a free membership that they can log into just specifically their back office computer. The most often one that we're using now is AnyDesk. But it is still the same access, but we're just making it a little bit easier for our people to get there.
And depending on what you're looking for, so in other words, if you're looking for, let's say, reporting, so it depends on what they're looking to do. So if you're looking for reporting, we have like an app base. We have an app that they can download that they can look at all their reports and things like that in real time. We have features like CDM, which is central database management. So let's say if you have someone that has multiple locations, I want to be able to push information out, such as pricing changes, those type of things into the system, without going into each one of those. We have those features as well. So it just we have a few different tools that you can work with.
I think the main issue was end of the day, had to go to the back office. So what I did is I just did automatic batching, so they don't have to get in every day. That's all.
And so we would still typically set them up. She said that she normally sets up her merchants with an end-of-the-day process automated, just so that they don't have to go back in, log in, and manually do it themselves, which we can certainly do for them. And we've actually added some additional features to the auto batch process, which is our end-of-the-day reports. Previously, with our auto batching process, it used to just be they'd get a notification whether or not the batch went through in a total. Now they've got, I think it's almost 24 different reports that they can have emailed to them regularly on a nightly basis for the sales for that day. So, I mean, we have some managers who they don't log into back office at all. They're just getting emails on a daily basis, and they have all their sales information they need already in their inbox.
Yeah. The auto batching is a very good and very useful feature. Not all agents and ISOs, use it to its fullest potential, but yeah, it's a great feature to use.
I have a few questions from our online folks.
Fantastic.
Is there a plan for hot sauce to have the Edge program?
Yes, that's a great question. That's a great question. So we're currently looking at about 3 months for the dual pricing to come out. Obviously, we have a cash discount program right now that that a lot of our ISOs and agents have been using, which is the traditional way that a lot of people will take. Essentially you're taking that number and you're surcharging. But in terms of the actual dual pricing, which is kind of what Visa, MasterCard are looking for, yeah, we have that in development right now. I'm told. I'm told that it may be a couple months, but if developers tell me a couple months, I'll add 1 month to it. So I'll say 3. That might be true. That might be true. So someone just mentioned that we might have to get our developers an espresso machine. If you guys want to start all pitching in, Matt is going to start collecting for everybody. And if you want to contribute to the hot sauce espresso machine, we'll get that feature out even faster. But yes, in all seriousness, in a couple, 3 months, we're looking at this coming out.
I have 2 other questions from the online group.
Yes.
In regard to Spanish speaking, does hot sauce have a Spanish demo and customer support and training?
That is a really good question. Technically, yes, we do have that. I'm sorry?
Repeat it.
Repeat the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. The question is, do we have a Spanish-speaking? I think the actual question was, do we have Spanish-speaking demos?
Demos and support and training.
and support and training. So yes. So the support and training, absolutely. The demos, that is being put together as we speak. So I'm told. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Shame on me. Okay, I'm told by my colleagues here that yes, we actually have that already. But in terms of yeah, so we do have that demo in Spanish. But in terms of the support and implementation, we have a full Spanish-speaking support and implementation team. Like I said, I mean, you know, we're right now I think we're running about 30 technicians that does that, and of course that's in addition to, you know, other technicians that we have.
To be fair, right now we're doing our Spanish demos per request. We are in the process of seeing about getting them added to our regular webinar schedule as well. So that's the next piece of that.
One other question online, is there a QR code feature like Toast?
Yes, there is. So there's a QR code feature. What it allows you to do is, and I'm not too familiar when you're talking about Toast, what exactly feature you're talking about, but with ours, you can, you know, you can have the QR code set up at each table where you can scan it, and it's not just, you know, a lot of restaurants now, you scan it and a menu pops up, right? But ours is one step beyond that. When you scan it, it pops up, but it allows you to actually order, right? And once you order, then that QR code actually ties at that table, ties to the actual table. So within the POS system, that table now lights up as occupied, okay? And I think that's a great question. First of all, whoever asked that, thank you. Because, you know, especially nowadays, I mean, every one of us that we walk into a restaurant, I mean, what are our clients telling us? You know, man, we can't get people to work. You know, it's so hard hiring people right now. Imagine being able to walk into a restaurant and say, guess what? We have this feature that now allows you to you know, you don't have as much pressure to hire this much front of house staff, right? They can go and order themselves. So thank you for that question.
I have one other pop-up. Someone says they have 4 merchants with hot sauce now using ICT 220s. Should they be switched to Desk 3500s?
Yes, okay.
Go ahead and repeat the question.
Yeah, so
Specifically, when should they be?
oh, NAB question.
Give me this little guy. Okay. Sorry, that's my realm. So yes, we still have many merchants with ICT 220s from the past, and we are slowly switching all of them over to EPX Direct and shipping out Desk 3500 terminals. So please email us at possales@paymentshub.com. That comes to myself and Morgan, my whole office, so we can work with you to get your merchants switched over. All future sales with hot sauce are automatically EPX Direct through Desk 3500 terminals. Good question.
Absolutely.
Sorry to bombard your stage.
No. No, that's perfect. So yeah, so a lot of exciting things. Actually, you know, I believe I left out one thing I think would be of interest to everybody as well, is that, you know, one of the things that you guys may want to inquire about is also our kiosk program. Again, you know, COVID has changed the world we live in, you know, and you know, and also you pair that with what we talked about earlier, with you know, just kind of the workforce issues right now that a lot of people are having. The kiosk can be a very powerful tool for a lot of your merchants as well. As you know, most POS, there's an integration, right? They have an integration partner. We're one of the very few that actually, and the problem when we looked at it and we studied is there's a lot of instability and inconsistencies when you have that integration going on, right? So we decided to go down the route of developing our own. So we have our own kiosk, and when I say we have our own kiosk, it's not, you know, with some other provider that we're integrated with, and obviously it works seamlessly with hot sauce. So I think that's a program also worth a lot of you guys checking into and seeing if that's something that could help your merchants as well.
Yep. Can I jump back in?
Absolutely.
Quickly? So by the way, guys, very close friends with Kai and Dana, have been for many years. So phenomenal company, very good friends. So we sell a lot of hot sauce. I wanted to stress again the importance of the Mexico City office, because I've been selling hot sauce for almost 7 years now, and we do a lot of Spanish, English restaurants. We've got tons of hot sauce in Texas, but the support, the demos, the training, the ongoing, you don't get that with a lot of POSs. And so that's huge. And I've got a lot of agents who are bilingual, and that's all they deal with. They deal with the Spanish market, which is great. And I wish I had that with other systems. So I really want to stress that we can lean on that and have that great bilingual support.
No, that's awesome. I just realized you probably do our presentation better than us. I really do mean it because you're like reminding me all kinds of stuff I'm leaving out.
I presented so much hot sauce.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
My staff makes fun of me because I actually fell asleep while presenting a hot sauce demo one time. I was talking still, and they're like, "Wake up! Why are you?" Because I knew it so well in my head, and I'd done so many
awesome.
demos. Yeah.
Next time, ask them to take a video for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, absolutely. So 1 second. So along the lines of what Matt just said, yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the areas we really pride ourselves on. Like I said, we really seek to when we created this program for the merchant processing industry to be able to do a subscription, you know, where our head was at is it's easy to just create a subscription program, but we wanted to create a subscription program the right way. You know, so a lot of the people you're competing with that are doing especially the cloud-based systems or these monthly systems, you know, it's viewed as a DIY program. You know, it's cheap, you get it, the service is cheap, right? But for us, you know, what Matt was talking about, and it's not just Spanish speaking, it's just, you know, the mainstream market as well. You know, everyone from the time they sign on with Hot Sauce, they get that dedicated project manager, you know. And that's huge, to be able to have that one point of contact that your merchants can go to that hand holds them the entire way, right? So you know, over the years, we've changed and we tweaked a lot of processes to improve the way we are able to support our ISOs and merchants and agents, but that is one thing we've always held fast to, is that, you know, people want to be able to have that relationship, that connection with someone to putting in their system.
Yeah, absolutely. And that placement program helps us compete with Harvard Touches and the other placement programs out there.
Absolutely.
Question?
I just wanted to know what the implementation time is from start to finish. How long does it take for my merchant to get?
I'll tell you I'll tell you, and then he can verify.
Here's the question for everyone at home: is the implementation process for Hot Sauce start to finish?
Currently, and you know, there's always a caveat, right? It's you know, a lot of it depends on participation from the merchant, right? If we're spending 3 weeks chasing them down for a menu, you know, that's a problem. But assuming that we're getting, you know, active participation from the merchant, we typically comfortably run about 2 weeks. So from the time we get the contract, we can get it out in about 2 weeks. Now, please don't test us too much, but there are instances where we can have it out in 4 or 5 days, you know, depending on the type, where you are in the country, you know, how we get the equipment out. But typically what we say is, you know, 2 weeks. The reality is merchants are busy. So a lot of our projects, you know, do end up being that 2.5 week mark, you know, sometimes closer to 3 weeks. But if we get active participation, within 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, and one last thing on that, my team, we talk about that in the demos, especially when we're done. We talk about their time frame and how they're looking. And we're very honest with the merchant, just like Kai just said. You know, it could be 2 to 4 weeks. I mean, depending on how soon you need it, if we need to put a rush order on it, and that participation is key. Because Erica and Savannah with Hot Sauce are phenomenal, but if they can't get a hold of the merchant and they're texting them and they're calling them, then they reach out to me and they're like, Matt, we can't go anywhere because we can't get a hold of the merchant. Yeah. So we talk about that a lot when we're finishing the demo and setting those expectations. Yeah. And that's something, yeah, my team, with each of our systems, if we're demoing, we're talking about that. We're talking about wiring, we're talking about installation, timing, before we ever get off the call. Yeah. And it gives them that sense of comfort, like, okay, let's make sure you know what's happening.
Now, are you shipping out from Atlanta? Are you guys?
We are. We're based here in Atlanta. Yeah. Yeah, corporate is here in Atlanta.
I was actually on the phone with our Hot Sauce, one of our places in Alaska, a couple hours ago on the lunch break, and we're switching them actually to EPX Direct and getting them new terminals, which takes a little longer to ship to Alaska. But yes, we have Hot Sauce all over the country. We had one in Hawaii a few months back. So.
But you ship out from here.
No,
well, here and you have a West Coast.
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, we sometimes ship out of Atlanta, but the bulk of our equipment actually ships out of our Irvine, California distribution center.
Yeah. Yeah. So, good question. Anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns? What's your favorite color, Keith?
Blue.
Now,
Blue? Nice belt, buddy.
if you guys are seeing what's up here, so you guys met Dan earlier.
Where's Torrent? He's not, you can't put his name up there.
Obviously, I'm not Torrent. Yeah, I'm not Torrent, but he would love to hear from you. So we hope a lot of agents will just flood him with calls or emails.
He's still mad at me about the NCAA tournament.
All right, thanks, Kai.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, let me get that from you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, everybody home, I realized my mistake on the schedule. I was thinking 3 o'clock, 3:30. That's what happens sometimes when you're going fast and furious on all this back and forth and content. So essentially, everybody